Like seriously, if Michael Bolton started a metal band, this is totally what it would sound like. Hey, what's up metal and heavy music fans? It's Flight of Icarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and today we're talking about Evergrey and their new album Escape of the Pheonix via AFM Records. And hey, if you like to be kept up to date with the best and brightest metal bands and albums from the underground and above, then stick with me by hitting that subscribe button down below. This is the 12th album from the Swedish progressive metal band who have been cranking out quality material since all the way back in 1995. The band has enjoyed increased notoriety and success with 2016's The Storm Within and 2019's The Atlantic, and they sought out to continue this tradition on Escape of the Pheonix. No longer restrained by the conceptual framework of the previous trilogy, lyricist and vocalist Tom Englund finds himself able to write about whatever came to mind. Says Englund himself, "This has been my therapy, really. For the last 25 years, I'm very certain that if we didn't do this, I would be a much more miserable person. I've got to thank music for everything, especially having the outlet to write lyrics. There's a theory that writing things to yourself is therapeutic, and I think that's very true. For me, it's like painting a picture with words. I really see clearly what it's about. It's a world to me." Now, while I've been aware of Evergrey in passing over the years, this is really the first time I've thrown myself headfirst into an album, so I'll be interested to chat with y'all in the comments and on Discord about my thoughts versus those of longtime fans. Overall, it was a pleasant and often surprising experience, but then I'm getting ahead of myself. The single that sold me on adding Escape of the Pheonix to my queue was Eternal Nocturnal, and I think for most it's easy to see why. This track is a total banger with a great hook and catchy as fuck chorus that got me singing along pretty much from the first listen. Even after all of these years, Englund proves himself to be a powerful singer both in proficiency of his performance and how he carefully arranges his melodies. Likewise, the instrumentation here is head-bobbing magic, and I love the subtle atmosphere of the synth as icing on the cake. Lots of killer solos on this one as well, all making it hold strong as my personal favorite overall. Keeping the momentum with these heavier tracks, there's also of course the energetic and equally catchy opener Forever Outsider, as well as the powerful vocals and infectious Dark Tranquillity-esque synth lines of the moody Where August Mourns. And of course there's Dandelion Cipher with its clanky bass rumble, genty, almost Architects-like riffs, and pounding drums driving it eternally forwards. This last one in particular made a significant impact early on in my listens and continues to be a standout in the track listing. Then there's also the title track, which opens like it's a goddamn Meshuggah record. So much infectious chugging and groove on this one, which is perfectly matched by the vaguely ominous synth. One of the few tracks on the album that in places I would describe as pretty crushing, even without any harsh vocals to give it that extra kick. It's a song with some serious duality as it alternates between these headbanging moments and the more melodic chorus and bridge, but overall I think this one is going to be another crowd pleaser at live performances. Because you didn't come at all, and I didn't want to fall, but I never needed more. And I'll round this part out with my second favorite track, often vying for number one, Leaden Saint. In addition to being super heavy, this is also arguably the proggiest composition on the entire record, along with maybe closing track Run, with some seriously Dream Theater-esque twists and turns to go along with its just general intensity. The riffs sound like a spiraling cyclone, later accented by some pretty epic two-part guitar harmonies. By the end, it feels like a powder keg, the fuse anxiously running down before exploding into another righteous, fiery solo and cathartically layered vocals. I could listen to this track over and over again and never get tired of it. On the flip side, we have several power ballads to take in as well, which actually make up a good half or so of the album. This is where I started dubbing Escape of the Pheonix as Michael Bolton metal. Like seriously, if Michael Bolton started a metal band, this is totally what it would sound like.
Why don't you just go by Mike instead of Michael?
No way. Why should I change? He's the one who sucks.
And no shade here, Michael Bolton is a phenomenal singer in his own right. I just wasn't expecting Evergrey to give me nostalgia for afternoons spent in the dentist office waiting room in the 90s. In any case, the first of these is Stories, which definitely turned my head with its sudden shift in tone, opening with a very minimalist approach of soft piano and vocals before progressing into the big, slow power chord build. This is followed soon after by The Beholder, which appropriately features a duet with Dream Theater's own James LaBria. This one still manages to balance some of the band's heavier elements, especially in the guitars, but once more with vocal performances that feel much more pop radio oriented. Again, not an argument against so much as a matter of taste. Objectively, the performances here are top notch.
So much wiser.
I think what threw me for a loop the most about these tracks is when they show up so close together, which was definitely the case with In Absence of Sun, coming right after the previous track. To me, a ballad just works better in the midst of a band's faster, more aggressive material, representing an obvious shift that is even more pronounced within that context. When presented back to back, I feel like it kind of cheapens the potential impact. In isolation, there's a lot to praise about this track, from the lovely piano hook like Falling Snowflakes to the powerful bass grooves and ripping guitar solo once more later on. But the placement of this one in particular just gives me some pause. Personally, I think my favorite of the tracks in this vein is the very sing-along worthy You From You, which probably by no coincidence is sandwiched right between the aforementioned Escape of the Pheonix and Leaden Saint.
Because you didn't come at all, and I didn't want to fall, but I never needed more.
Turning to my thoughts of the album as a whole, again, I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it overall. It's no shock for my personal taste that I still prefer the heavier tracks to go back and re-listen to the most, but there are certainly ones from the other side of the spectrum that continue to grow on me every time I throw them on. If you ask me, Evergrey, y'all just lean into it and get Bolton on the next one for a duet. I'm all ears for that. As far as my scales go, I give Escape of the Pheonix a 9 for enjoyability. Again, there are some points here and there that felt a little too much like downtime for me, but rarely were those enough to stop me from finding something that I could enjoy in the experience. Not perfect, but still very strong and with lots of fun, memorable moments. For musicianship, I also give it a 9. There are the obvious technical high points as far as performances go on, again, songs like Leaden Saint, but even on the more understated tracks, I can't help but notice the attention to detail in the overall songwriting, and of course, Englund's vocals are always in top form. Really, across the board, every musician makes their mark on this album, from the bass and guitars to the drums and keys. And I give it a 7 for innovation. I'm not sure I hear enough really new ideas in the genre to warrant more than an average rating in this department, but again, I'll be interested to hear from the longtime fans of the band how this one fits into their larger discography. So an 8.3 overall and a B for Evergrey and Order of the Pheonix.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I mean, Escape of the Pheonix. Get it again via AFM Records.
Soon as I see what I have forgotten for the sun.
Time for a little shout out here too. This is for Finnish progressive metal band Oddland and their 2016 album Origin. This band has the perfect mix of heavy, often very Meshuggah-esque guitars with powerful, dramatic, clean singing. On the surface, these tracks feel pretty accessible, but if you pay attention to the shifting time signatures and genre swapping, layers of genius begin to come into focus. Chunky gent transitions flawlessly into melodic harmonies and back again before exploding into some delectable soloing. I really think that fans of everything from Evergrey and Opeth to Sevendust will find something to enjoy here. And that's it, y'all. As always, let me know down in the comments, what did you think of this album? What's your favorite Evergrey album? And what album should I dive into next, since I'm relatively new to the band? And hey, stick around because I got plenty more videos coming right after this one. I got full album reviews for more new releases. I've also got bands recommended like other bands, tier lists, interviews with bands on the podcast. You name it, we've got it. So plenty of reasons to, again, subscribe if you have not already. Also chat with us on Discord and support us on Patreon. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.